Lamar, I was thinking about you and Carla, really thinking about Carla. Kevin and I were unpacking the truck yesterday afternoon because he drove up to DC and picked me up there, and we took the long way home, as I've talked about and posted about on my social media. And we camped one night, and we camped at Cape Lookout, which is on the North Carolina Outer Banks, tiny thin barrier island, all national park. It's part of the Cape Hatteras Protected National Seashore. It is rugged and wild and lonely and beautiful. And we car camped. So, Kev has a cap on the back of his truck, right? And then he has this tent that you can attach to the back of the truck that forms like a tight seal so mosquitoes can't get in. So, we set that up and we had our chairs in there. We had a bottle of wine. We were listening to music and listening to the sounds of the wind coming over the dunes and the crickets and whatnot. Slept like a big old bear, did have to get up in the middle of the night, climb out of the truck, unzip the tent, go out. And I could have walked to the campground bathroom because that wasn't that far away. Or I could just find a nearby bush. And so I found a nearby bush because I'm a rugged sort of outdoorsy girl. And then I started giggling to myself. And I thought, the only way that Carla Richardson would be out here with me is if we were both being held against our will by a deranged cross-country serial killer. That's it. And even then.
There's no way. If I took her to something like that and I set all that up, she would reach and take a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc and break the top off of it and walk her ass all the way back to wherever she can get to. She would not do it. No.
I said to Kevin, hang on, let me get a picture. I want to send it to Carla because this is the last place we would ever find her.
You're never going to run into her there. I promise you that.
But except for the part where I had to get up in the middle of the night and leave and unzip and come back in and all that, slept really well. And in the morning, the sun came up and Kevin made me some French press because I'm bougie, even if I am using the nearest bush. And it was just so nice. It was so peaceful.
Oh, it's beautiful. The pictures were beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Was that in a national park, did you say? Was that in a national park? Or
Cape Hatteras National Seashore.
The Hatteras?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I've been there. It's
not too far from the Hatteras Light, which is under repair right now.
When we go to a state park, and we're there for a few days, and of course, state parks don't have like sewer, so you're on your own. You have to be careful with your showers. You have to be careful with that. You have to be careful so that your tanks don't get too full or whatever. I said to her one day, I said, "Look, we've got another day or so. Why don't you think about going to the bathhouse?" And she looks at me and she goes, "Why do you think we bought this camper? I bought this camper so I don't have to go to the bathhouse." She said, "Now, if you want to go to the bathhouse, you be my guest. But I'm in this camper. This is where I'm showering. This is where I'm doing the rest of my business. That's why we bought this." And I'm like, okay, I get it.
Listen, Lamar, here's the other place I thought of Carla. So we got all set up at around 7:00 at night is when we were setting everything up and getting all situated and getting our camp set. So I did go to, they didn't have a bathhouse at national parks. Some of them have bathhouses and some of them have a shower that's a rope in the ceiling and you pull it down and ice cold water hits you. And that is not something I'm available for at all. I'm going to skip that. But I did go to the bathroom. The bathrooms are great. They're lit and they're spotless and all of that. And so I'm in the bathroom stall. I'm by myself. We had this campground to ourselves. It was really unbelievably isolated. And I reached for the toilet paper to pull it down. And a baby bright green frog comes flying out of the dispenser right at my face. And I thought to myself, and that was the last time we saw Carla.
Leave us a talk back with the free Bob and Sheri app.
Hey, good morning, Bob, Sheri, Lamar, Max, and Doc. I'm calling to tell a story that I think Sheri in particular is going to appreciate. She is my inspiration. Last night was Sunday. It's back to school time. We're trying to be our best selves this school year, so we decided to have family dinner around the dining room table. We have a third grader and a first grader, and my husband took it upon himself to grill a delicious chicken all day. I decided I was going to try to reintroduce cauliflower because my kids eat about 5 things predictably, but every now and again they'll catch me by surprise and like something that they previously hated. So I bought some cauliflower from the store. I decided to roast it with some potatoes because who doesn't like that? And I realized I needed to rebrand the cauliflower. So I remember that Sheri refers to cauliflower as ghost broccoli. So all day I'm talking up the ghost broccoli. We're going to have ghost broccoli. What's that? Oh, it's like broccoli, but it's white. So they call it ghost broccoli. Ghost broccoli, ghost broccoli, ghost broccoli. So we make it to the dinner table. We're just chit-chatting. I'm asking the kids, hey, have you tried the ghost broccoli? How do you like it? They don't like it, of course. Then I'd look to my husband and I asked him how he liked the ghost broccoli. And he informed me that he had just finished it. It was great, but it didn't really taste like broccoli. It tasted more like cauliflower. And I stared him dead in his eyes, and he realized at that moment that ghost broccoli was in fact cauliflower rebranded. And we laughed and laughed. Thanks, guys. Love you lots.
We just don't pay attention. Men just do not pay attention to what's going on around them.
Your kids are smarter than mine, but your husband belongs at my house, is what I do.
My mama tricked me into eating turnips by telling me they were potatoes for years. Yeah.
Okay,
They're a lot crunchier than potatoes, but anyway.
We have another one.
Good morning, guys. I'm just listening to the podcast from August 8th, and I'm at the part where Sheri is talking about having her baby with medical intervention because she was like a French bulldog. It's following the 911 operator call. And it reminded me when my oldest was on the way, I was a Buick. I gained 90 bazillion pounds, and I knew I was having a big baby because I was huge. You could have ridden me to work. Anyway, my obstetrician, I remember him saying to me, well, St. Bernards have big puppies and Chihuahuas have little puppies. And I've really never wanted to unalive a man more. And he's lucky that he survived because I outweighed him by 2.5. And it turned out that the 9-pound baby he said I was having actually weighed 12.8. So he may not have been wrong. My God. Thank God for medical intervention, because if I didn't have a C-section, I wouldn't admit it anyway. Have a fantastic day, guys. Love your show. Bye.
Well, thank God for C-sections. And what an idiot doctor.
Oh, my
You
God.
don't ever refer to a woman as a dog, let alone the biggest dog, the St. Bernard.
This is why I only have lady doctors.
Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
What did he say? He said Chihuahuas have little babies and St. Bernards,
St. Bernards have big ones.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would love to have seen just a tight shot of her face in that examining room at that moment.
I have a feeling that she did not even bother to try to control her face in that
I don't think she
example
did.
at that
I would
moment.
bet not.
Good Lord. I'm
Must have been
surprised.
a
I mean,
bedpan close by. She'd have smacked him with it. Oh my God!
I know. I mean, doctors deal with different patients, especially if you deliver babies. You deliver, you're dealing with women all the time. Good Lord, man.
That's my next question. Have you ever met a woman? Was this his only woman patient?
I know.
Are you stupid?
And it sounded like that wasn't the first time he used that analogy.
Oh no! That was his favorite deal. Hell, was his?
Yeah,
How he made it
yeah.
through medical school because he's an idiot. I mean, come on.
It's the stuff we wouldn't, couldn't, shouldn't do on the regular show. The Oddcast on the free Bob and Sheri app.
I got a question for Lamar. My name's Kelly. I'm from Tennessee. Every time I'm driving down the road and I look over and somebody's done hit an armadillo, it's on its back. Its 4 legs are straight up. I want to know why that is. I want to know if he's got an answer.
Okay,
all you, buddy. It's all you, pal.
Well, First of all, I'm not an expert on armadillos, but I've seen a few, and I've got out on the side of the road and looked at a couple of them that's been hit. And you're right. I've never seen one that doesn't have their legs up. It seems, I investigated this, it seems that when the armadillo dies, the gases in its stomach swells up, okay? And so that makes its stomach lighter. It's lighter because it's armored. The back of it is heavier, so it automatically rolls up because the stomach gases. The same reason that a person that's dead and buried in the water, eventually they float to the top. I don't care how many cement blocks you wire to them, they still coming up because of the gases in their stomach. It works the same way on land with the armadillo. They call it the bloat and float theory, as far as that goes. So
it's the gateway to the weekend.
To all the program directors who used to criticize us, I apologize.
I can't believe this. Oh my God.
Hey, you guys want to hear something
First of all,
really
are you making
wild?
this stuff up?
No, I'm not making it up. No, I've researched it. You think you think I would make something up? Yes,
I told him ahead of time about this so he could be prepared.
Yeah.
Listen, you guys, at the Smithsonian, in the section where they have the dinosaurs and the fossils and all that, do you know that back when, I forget which period it was, if it was the Cretaceous I think it was the Cretaceous, armadillos were the size of small cars. I want you to imagine that on the side of the road. And now, Lamar, I want you to imagine, what'd you call it, the bloat and float? I want you to imagine an armadillo the size of a Prius suffering from bloat and float. Be glad that you are alive today and not back then. Count your blessings.
That's so true. That's so true. I'm reading this book, Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind. 45,000 years ago, the Sapiens, they're walking around and they're kind of in control. But once in a while, they'd say, it's scary out there outside the cave. There's tigers that could eat us. We got to be on our toes. But old Bob over here, he's getting a little slow. And then somebody would say, I've noticed that about Bob. Yeah, he's holding back. If we had to run from one of the dangerous animals, he would hold us back. And so a young man in the tribe would take like an axe, like a rough-hewn axe. And when Bob's just standing around, go up and put the axe in his head. And then everybody move on because he was holding the group up. Now, we don't have great health care in this country, but I got to tell you, it's better than my getting an axe in the head when I don't see it coming. Just because, there's a little off my fastball. I have to say,
most days, I'm not, this is just what we do, right? Most days, this is just what we do, and I don't think twice about it. And then other days, I kind of step back and go, let's see, we're kicking off the show with dead armadillos, giant armadillos, and Bob being grateful that no one has axed him for being slow.
All I'm doing is answering the question. I was asked a question. That's what the answer is.
You're just following orders.
Bloat and float. Bloat and float.
Right. Leave us a talk back with the free Bob and Sheri app.
Hey, Bob and Sheri. This is Sunny from Rock Hill, South Carolina. And this question is mostly for Sheri because I was listening to your one response to the manager who told you to get your seat off the console or whatever. Does that come with time? I just need to know because we kind of have similar backgrounds. I'm not going to go into depth about that, but because I can't do that. I just roll over and show my tummy. Do you kind of learn that eventually? Because I need to know.
Wow, Sonny. First, thank you for listening. And that is a really good question. And the answer to it is a little on the dark side and nothing that I can turn into a best-selling self-help book. But here we go. Are you ready? I fully expected to be murdered by my own father before I turned 21. And when I managed to escape that fate, I vowed right then and there that that was my first, last, and only bully. And no one would ever, 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 ever make me feel that way again. And so then I get into, my adult life and my career and all of that. And I ended up in a very sexist, male-dominated industry where women are treated very poorly for the most part. They just are. And so I encountered a lot of guys that thought that that's how the game was played, and that's how we were going to play it. But what they didn't understand was they were just Brian, and it was just Tuesday, and I had already gone mano a mano with a weapon-toting, coked-out meth cook for the first 2 decades of my life. So the chances that some khaki-wearing radio Nimrod was going to intimidate me after that, after being in multiple raids on our house by the DEA, having been tortured and terrorized and abused my whole life by my father with weapons and words and everything else, after visiting him in the same prison that they shot the Scared Straight documentary in, some yahoo walking into my studio and smacking my boot with a copy of People magazine, that was like a mosquito to me. But I don't recommend that other people follow that path, because in order to get to that point where that guy is like a mosquito to you, you've got to survive like true ungodly terror. So that's how I do it. I look at every conflict situation like, is this the best you've got? I mean, really? This is
I was
all
endlessly
you're gonna threaten me
entertained
with?
knowing the backstory. I was endlessly entertained when one of these guys, and there's one in particular I'm thinking of, would come in and think that he was going to intimidate the girl on the show. I would just sit back and watch. I'd watch the dude's face because I knew what you were going to spring. I mean, it was a different line for every person who did this. There weren't that many, but I just watched the guy's face. And you'd say something right out of left field with a little bit of a salty verbiage. And I knew the guy had never been spoken to that way before. Now I have to say to the caller, Sheri also, because of who she is and our show, was bringing in a lot of money to the, one radio station or another, bringing in a lot of money. So it gives you a little bit of an edge on a guy like that. But it was just so interesting to watch somebody for the first time get knocked down by a woman.
The thing is, when you've been bullied and terrorized the way that I was, you reach that, it's the burning bed moment. You reach that where you're like, not one more time, not one more time. And then someone comes along and they don't know that about you, and they poke that sleeping bear and you whip around. Like those guys would do that. And I was 16 years old again and trying to lock myself in a room. No more, not again. And the other secret was, Sonny, I was willing and prepared to lose everything. Fire me. You go right the hell ahead and fire me, but I will not be bullied and terrorized by another man as long as I live. So help me.